How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield.
Profit Your Knowledge podcast. Today we are talking about resilience and really just becoming a bigger version of ourselves. And I have just the expert who, is an expert in this to come onto the show. This is Rick Yee, and he is a resilient and transformative individual. He's freaking yoked. I know you can't see him, but he's a really cool guy, and he has just overcome a lot of things in his life, really, abusive environment, upbringing, that sort of stuff. And now he helps other people just really develop this warrior's way kind of mindset. And I think it's really going to be an important lesson for us because, the longer you get in the game of building your business, the more important this stuff really becomes because you start to grow into a new layer of yourself. And that's where all this sort of mindset work really comes into play. So I'm pumped for you to be here right now. How you doing, Rick?
Doing awesome, brother. I'm glad to be here. It's an honor.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'd love to hear from you. So tell me, what made you decide to, one, start a business around like teaching things online? Because that's really what my audience is going for.
Okay.
Like an online business, but also like what made you get into what you teach, which is like this mindset resilience sort of stuff.
All right. So I'm going to reverse engineer this a little bit. It's going to start off where I'm going to tell you an answer and then we're going to work it backwards. One of the answers that comes from, we've created a creed in the Warrior's Way, and there's 7 different rules. It comes from trust, no blame, no shame, no judgment, authenticity, willingness, skin in the game, protect your pack, challenge everything. Each of those I can get into later, but first let's start with challenge everything. Challenge everything. We should be asking why. We should be using why as the weapon. Well, why do I want that? Why is that important to me? And I see it used incorrectly often because people will jump right into Simon Sinek and know your why, and then they do it all sideways. It goes all over the place. I need to know my why first. If I don't start my why, I won't be able to do anything, and I just don't know what it is yet, and so maybe I shouldn't start yet, or maybe I shouldn't do this, and they start creating doubt. And then we start creating all these belief systems that go around it, and excuses get involved and justifications happen. Hold on. Just challenge what it is that you want and start moving because your why is going to change. We talk about what's your purpose. I got to find what's my calling. What's the value that I bring to the people that I want to help? And people most of the time want to help people. And I think if you're listening to this, you're one of the people who want to help people. I like helping people. I feel fulfilled when I help others, but I don't know my why and I don't know my purpose yet. Let me just give you a little bit of clarity on this one. Just start going because it's going to change and you'll find it on the way. And the reason I say this is people think they have to have the answer before they begin starting a solution, but oftentimes the answer isn't the solution at all. And you're going to start off going, I want to help people do this thing. Let's say coaching. It's the most common one right now. I'm just going to say right now, it's a saturated market. Good. I'm so happy. Podcasting, saturated market. Good. Cream will rise to the top. The people who quit will quit, and the people who persevere and have resilience will be at the top of it. They'll have their show and success. And so you're going to have to find that on the way. You'll figure you out when you're actually doing your journey. Start doing something.
Yeah.
Start doing it. Yeah. Just start messing it up.
Right. There's a really good quote. I can't recall who it is by, but it says the work will teach you how to do it. And I love that. I just love the simplicity in it and the truth in it. And that's what I have done anytime I'm like, I want to build this because that's something that sounds fun to me, or it sounds like something that really help like my business, and my impact and everything. Building a workshop, or I wanted to build a series about Kajabi because I'm an affiliate partner for them. So I did 60 consecutive tutorials over 60 consecutive days. And it was a big project. And I was like, this is a lot, but it has paid off because, now I have affiliate commissions and all that stuff coming through passively. But at first it was just like really daunting. And then I read that quote of like, the work will teach you how to do it. And I'm like, I'm just going to make an outline of videos that I want to use, and then start doing it. And then as I was doing it, I started to find different ways to make the videos more streamlined, make them faster, but still adding the value and all that sort of stuff. So I love what you're saying. Tell me about a time in your life when what you just said of like just doing the kind of work and getting out there and like, wanting to help people and all that has really, I guess, like where it really became apparent to you, I guess, as an individual.
So I'm going to keep going with that purpose story then. And this is going to make it so like my purpose when I found my purpose was not what I thought my purpose was going to be at all. Not even close. So we start off with like usually the how or what I want to do, right? I started off with a company called Just a Mile a Day. I was a regular worker. I worked at, cell phone company, just transferring your contacts from one phone to another and trying to sell you a tablet you don't need. I was that guy for a while. And then I got into writing and understanding and figuring out some things I was writing my first book at the time, which is Everything is a Choice. I got really deep into philosophy, stoicism, psychology. I was doing that while I was working there. And I started a company called Just a Mile a Day because I was really into fitness. I wanted people just to get started. But how many people are not recognized on a daily basis for like, take care of yourself or you took care of your kids? It's like things that you're supposed to. Stop it. There's such a shortage of recognition. Why do we have to hoard it? Like we are in a, what's the mentality where like the scarcity mentality? Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, I have to not give that. I have to not. We can give smiles and appreciation and recognition all day long. It's free. And how much does that fill somebody's cup? So starting this off, I said, just do something. Do 1 mile a day. Walk a half mile away and then turn around. And then as soon as you get home, you're done. And if you hate doing a mile, go faster because then it's done sooner. Just you can control this. What are you going to do? You get to choose. And so I started seeing people doing this, and we had thousands and thousands of people, even internationally, even people who operate in kilometers are doing miles. It's pretty fun. So we've got people who have done like 2,000 days in a row. Like it's wild, years of doing this. But I would watch people yo-yo. They'd hit their goal, and then they'd go right back to their old program and gain the weight back. And then they hit a goal, and then they gain the weight back, or hit a goal and gain the weight back. And I'm starting to watch the mindset of what's going on here. And I start going more into like what's happening mindset-wise. And I start adding mindset stuff to our fitness program. And then we start seeing different results happen. And then I start seeing commonalities and patterns, and I start digging into my own stuff. And that leads me into building out the Everything is a Choice program, because now I can see I have to help you operate under the programs you have here are affecting the other program we're doing. So then I started doing both at the same time. And I built workout programs and built all these things. And here I am just creating and moving and doing things. And let me just tell you guys, if any of you have the perfectionism mindset, you're going to hate this job, because I screwed up everything. Everything that could be screwed up was screwed up forward. So that means if you're screwing things up forward, you're doing it right. Good job. Keep screwing it up, because if you have a mindset of doing everything right, you're never going to do it. Keep messing it up. So here I am now doing this mindset program and finding that like when I was working with women, they would come out the gate amazing, just crushing it. But then after a few months of doing well, everything's going better, there was a sabotage system that kicked in, and I started really getting frustrated watching them just destroy all of their progress from some emotional thing that I was like, I don't know why they're doing this. But the men, for some reason with my training, were just skyrocketing. They were doing well. So I'm like, I'm just going to lean the program more towards men then. The ladies, I don't know what's going on there. There's something that no one's given me an explanation. I've talked to tons of coaches, and I'm like getting very variable answers. I'm just going to lean towards guys. There's not a lot of guys programs anyway, so let's build one. And I did this for years, and it started developing into conversations of like, what's your warrior type? Are you really being authentic to the type of battle that you want to have? And what type of man or warrior are you going to be as a pack leader, as an alpha? Like the conversation just started leaning into warrior talk. And then we rebranded it into the Warrior's Way mindset. This has made it so that it's been very authentic. Now, we've had women's groups and men's groups, but it's gone really far into that. Just now, I'm in the Warrior's Way. We get into the recognition still from Just a Mile a Day. It's evolved into 2 different programs now from then, and now we're on our 3rd program since we started this thing. And it keeps evolving. And here I am thinking my strong side is going to be mindset and action. This is mind and body side are my strong sides. Tactics, abilities, do something. This gets into your beliefs, to your potential and actions and results, that whole circle. And I'm going. And then I start realizing there's a yin to the yang. And some of you other warriors out there, and some of your warriors who you have are spirit side or heart side. And you start realizing the rules are opposite there. Those weren't my strong sides. And so I opened up spirit side, which means like, I gave my soul, spirit, faith towards God. I chose God. You choose what everything is. It could be the universe, could be energy. I don't care. Meditate, do your thing. I don't care. God made all of it, so do your thing. In which case, I went that direction and found surrender is opposite on the other side. Surrender on your mindset or on your physical side, that's quitting. Well, you lose. You're a loser then. You quit, right? But on your spirit and heart side, surrender is strengthening. I didn't know this. So here I am doing all of the things, right? I'm sure you have very, very intelligent people, so very smart, good in the psychology, good in philosophy, being able to do all of the diagnosis. And I know all of the problems and all of the symptoms. I know what they are. I got them all categorized. So here I am going through all of my traumas, abandonment, abuse, alcohol, you got you name it. We've got everything. I've got everything in there. And if I have a repressed sexual thing that happened when I was a kid, I don't remember, but all the other ones I got. So I've got all these generational curses, all this stuff. I call it growing up in Sparta. And so when I talk to people with PTSD or BPD or any of those things, I'm like, I know your language. I got you. So then here I am now, faced with all of these things, and I did all of the work for mind and body, categorized, put in their respective bins, and all stacked up. I have my mountain of pain is all here, and I see it clearly, right? Yet it's still there. It's organized. It's labeled. I know what it is. But it's still here. How is the answer not the solution? I did all of the things that all of the books and all of the reading and all of the writing says to do, and it's still here. I knew there was some missing piece. I had a suppressed spirit side. I would use the Bible as a weapon. Anybody who's falls into that, I would read the Bible and I would go, here's why you're wrong. Did you read 2 scriptures ahead of you? You know, I would weaponize this book because I didn't have any faith or any belief in anything more. And so I would dismantle it because most people are going off of what other people say. So me leaning in spirit side didn't make any sense for me. It was illogical. This doesn't make sense. When I finally said, I have my mountain of pain here, I did everything. I did everything right. And it's still there. What am I missing? Now, people say they have auditory stuff. I didn't have an auditory thing with God, but you can still hear the thought, but it's not like, Rick. You know, it's not one of those things. You know, It's not like this, like Moses, let my people go. It wasn't like that. No burning bush. Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., it's in the middle of the night. My girl's sleeping next to me. And I go, God, you know what? I surrender. Take this mountain. I don't know what to do with it. And he said, your mountain to me is less than a grain of sand. Give me your mountain. And I said, seriously? Like, yes. Give me your mountain. And I remember surrendering all of my mountain to God. That was a weird thing. Remember, psychology, philosophy, science. Mm-hmm. It felt like if you were to step off my chest. It felt like a grown man stepped off my chest. And I was like, what the heck is that? This is not logical. My Spock brain is like, no, highly illogical, Captain. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, but it did. And something happened, and he said, here's what you do now. What you do now is go into hell, grab the pain from these people, take their mountains, and then bring their mountain to me because it's less than a grain of sand. And I said, what does this have to do with just a mile a day? What does this have to do with writing a book? What does this have to do with finding purpose or finding who I am or what I'm meant to do in this world? I found that God doesn't ask easy things. And if you think that your purpose is to be on the beach and party or have a good day every day, you haven't found your purpose yet because God doesn't ask easy things. So now my job and my purpose is to gather mountains from people who are drowning, or stuck, or in quicksand, or they've been abused or abandoned, or they're suicidal thoughts, they're in addiction, they're depressed, anxiety-ridden. And my purpose now is to go into hell and get them, help them learn how to get out, and then go back and get more. There is no way, if I wasn't doing 10 years of this journey, starting with just recognition and hope for people doing basic things, that I would ever find that my gift of discernment is meant to go in and pull people out of their nightmares so that they can have a damn chance to break the generational curses that have been put on them for decades.
No.
How do you find that? It's on the journey. So quit judging people's journeys, guys. We don't know where the heck that's going to go.
Right. Or where people are starting from too. And I think that's important to think about, because like when I came from I can't say a very similar background because I don't know exactly what you went through, but I had a really screwed up childhood, like chaos every day. Didn't know, parents almost killed each other. Didn't know what was going to happen, if mom or dad was going to come back. You know, that was my life. And when I was 17 years old, I was very insecure, you know, angry a lot. I picked on people, which I hate to admit, but I did. You know, I was kind of a bully, but it's just like I had bad role models. And I read the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and when I was like 17. There it is. It's on your desk. And it's an amazing book. But I read that when I was 17, and I just like, my mom was actually pressuring me to like read it. She's like, you should read this book. Like, it's really cool. And she, you know, I got out of all alcoholism and that sort of stuff, and she got really into personal development. She's okay with me sharing that. But I just came home from school one day, and she like left the book on my bed. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll open up the book. So I open it up, and right when you open up the first tab, it has like a quick overview of the four agreements. And the one that really caught my eye was don't take anything personally. So I was like, okay, I'm going to, you know, just read this book. I'll give it a chance. And it just like sucked me in. And that was like my first exposure to personal development. And as I'm reading the book, I can see how the interactions that I have with different people, how like this is real confidence really, and like personal freedom, which allows me to in turn feel more confident in myself, which is what I really wanted when I first started, just to like be confident with friends and with girls and all that sort of stuff. And I just really like, I read the book every day for months, probably 3 months straight, and just like ingrained it into my head. And it really transformed my life. And I started helping other people with that sort of stuff. And that's really ultimately what got me into like coaching and whatnot. Cause I just have conversations and I'm like, you're making so many assumptions, you know, you're taking things personally. And that was like my first little bit from like all the experience I've had and sharing stories and whatnot. But I forgot why I went down this tangent, but that was like, yeah, I came from that sort of background. I think that a lot of people, they don't, not everybody goes to that same background, but if you have, you can see other people and compare yourself to them when they have totally different belief structures and system that you need to work through because you had this certain background. For example, when I was getting into coaching, I had friends and colleagues who excelled much faster than me. They didn't have those sort of like the same background as me. And I just had so much more that I kind of had to work through subconsciously when it came to like imposter syndrome and things like that. And that's really like, it took me longer because I had more that I had to work through because I unfortunately had a much like more harsh childhood. And I think that that's something like another example of like not comparing yourself to other people per se is like, you know, you just don't know what someone's experience is and you can't really focus on them. All you can really focus on, you should focus on is the impact that you want to make and then making that impact. And I think that that's a better way to invest our mental energy.
Or at least getting started. This is why I agree. Don't judge the journey, man. People have to go somewhere. I started with the Four Agreements too, man.
Yeah,
like this was like 20 years ago. I read that book, and I got it. I'm just gonna join in with you. Don Miguel Ruiz kills it in this book. I read it again this year, and I was like, I did not understand how badass this guy had condensed decades of information into a paragraph, and he does it over and over. I was like, man, Don really thought about this book. I couldn't grasp it when I first started. I didn't understand the depth of what he was talking about. Don't take things personally is actually a really huge lesson for even acceptance, radical acceptance. What is truth? What is their truth? Like, it's interesting conversations that we get into now, but I was not even at the level to grasp the gravity of what he's talking about. And so we grab our pieces. I think you're not wrong. You could read it 10 times and get something different each time.
Yeah, I was just on a trip with my girlfriend in Yosemite. It was super fun and beautiful. We went into this little like antique thrift shop and they had the Four Agreements. And I was like, oh, this is a great book. And she's like, hey, the Four Agreements, because she knows I love that book. And I opened it up and just read like those like quick overview of the agreements again. I'm like, I need to read this book again. So I have it on my little bookshelf and I'm actually going to dive into it again because that was kind of my reminder. But it's interesting as you like practice these things, you step away from a book for a while and then you come back to it and then you read it again. Like, it's like the Bible, you know, it's like, it's anything that's really meaningful and in depth like that. And then you just come to it with a different level of awareness and, see things from a totally different perspective. It's really interesting. Have you read The Fifth Agreement?
I read the one with his relationships ones. I didn't read the Fifth Agreement one. What's that one?
Dude, the Fifth Agreement is, so what he said in the book is like the 4 agreements is the intro. The Fifth Agreement is the real teaching. And he goes over the 4 agreements again in the Fifth Agreement before he introduces the Fifth Agreement. But the Fifth Agreement is the real training. So it's like, you know, twice as thick as the 4 agreements, but it's the same style and content. It is like, I'm actually going to buy that book today because I don't have it. I lost my copy a long time ago, but I'm going to reread these books because, like, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, I need this again.
The guy was great, and you're putting like hundreds of years of information back in your brain just from his experiences. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
I never heard of the Fifth Agreement, though. That's a cool one.
Oh, dude, pick it up. Like, sure. Yeah, you would, and let me know when you read it. Be like, dude, it's wild. Like, it's just like mind bendy.
You know, this guy's trippy. Still alive. Why don't we talk to him?
I actually got to meet him. I went and saw his presentation. Yeah, I went to Sedona in Arizona, and there was a huge like bunch of spiritual teachers coming through. Don Miguel Ruiz was one of them, and like his son spoke as well. And I got to sit down the presentation. I was so excited. He did like a 3-hour keynote, and I honestly was falling asleep because the way he talks, but the way he talks is so like quiet and soothing and like long pauses. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm like, it's my like idol right now, you know? And I was just like, I'm trying so hard to stay awake because it was just like, it was like a bedtime story, but James, it was like,
I have a story for you.
Dude, literally, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm trying to stay awake. Give me some coffee or something. Anyway, yeah, it was a funny story. But no, he is still alive, and he's a really cool guy. I got to take a picture with him and give him a hug and all that. And it's, you can just like, even when you hug him, you can just feel like the amount of love that's just pouring out of him, which is what he talks about, you know, and it's just like, it's wild. That so wild. Rick, I'd love to hear, you know, talking, kind of getting back on track with this and like purpose and stuff that people can be trying to figure out. And like you said, you do have to take action, but what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about like getting started in a purpose-driven sort of business, like what we're doing, where it's about making impact and like having a problem that you're solving?
I really think the things that curses that get in people's way, I think perfectionism or having to do everything right, and also failure, like how people are for some reason thinking you're not supposed to have it. You ever see how people are like, I just don't want to fail. I have a fear of failure. I have a fear of failure. Like you're not supposed to fail. It's the only way to be successful. The road to mastery is failing in every way that you can. And I think people don't understand when they get in that you're getting into a sphere of authenticity, which means you're going to screw this up a lot because you're going to find yourself on this journey. And if you try coming in fake, you try doing things right without understanding yourself, you're going to fully implode. You'll expose yourself. You'll see who you really are, and then you're going to have to either change or you're going to have to abandon. And that's what ends up happening is people keep trying to be what they think is right and not be themselves. I would lean into like, who are you really? And then not having that perfectionist mindset. Here's a fun fact for you. Most people who are valedictorians or have 4.0 like in grade school or all through school rarely make it out of middle management. Did you know that?
No.
There are a lot more like successful CEOs or business owners who are like C/B students.
I believe that.
The reason why is because they are, you know, they try to control risk as much as possible. And if it's not a foregone conclusion that there's going to be a good success rate here, they won't take the risk. Even asking for a raise or trying to get a promotion, like, I may not get it. I don't want to get it wrong. You know, I could fail or it could look really bad for me. And they're afraid to make mistakes. And that perfectionism is very limiting. It's a limiting belief system. Whereas someone who's like, I screw stuff all the time. What's the odds? Like 60% it could work. I'm like, better than usual. Let's go. You know, and like they just jump in. It didn't work out. They're like, let's try it again then. Whatever.
Right.
You know, and so people who aren't afraid of making mistakes tend to be higher in the success categories because they'll screw it up and then they just keep going. Rejection, failure, those things are not a big deal. But if you don't have many of them, they become precious. It's very important to think of this. With rejection, the less rejection you have, the more precious each rejection is. Think of it like, I don't know, we'll use money. Money's an easy example. If you've got $10 and I'm like, hey, James, can I get $5, man? I need just $5. You're going to be like,
$10.
But you're going to be like, that's half my money, man. These dollars are important to me. It's half. That's a big deal to me. What do you need that for? And now we have to do an inquisition. Now you're going to be like, well, what are you doing it for? Are you going to pay me back? Can we have an interest rate applied to this? Like we're going to start a whole new thing.
Negotiate. Yeah.
But if you have $1 million and I need $5, you wouldn't even know it was gone.
Right.
So the more rejections that you have, the less important your rejections get. And yet we've only had 10 rejections. And so these are important to me and they define who I am. But if I've been rejected, I've had door-to-door jobs I did for years where the business model is to talk to 100 people and 90 out of 100 will slam the door in your face or be not interested. And that's a good day because you had 10 yeses. And there are many days where you get 0.
Right.
Which means you had 100 rejections for no damn reason at all. Didn't even make any money that day. You just got rejected for no reason. When you have thousands and millions of rejections, they don't matter anymore.
Right.
It doesn't even affect you. It's like, okay, I get rejected every day, even now.
Right.
Okay. I'll even challenge. How many of my millions of rejections, James, has messed up your life or changed your day even?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Warrior, thank you so much for being a part of the information that we have. And you're part of our story as we are a part of yours. It's very much an honor to be able to connect with each other. If you want to know more or you want to get started with working with me or working with our warriors so that you can begin your path to authenticity, strength, leadership, and accountability, this is the way. Together, we are way stronger. Now you get to choose. Do you go forward or keep doing what you've always done? If you stay where you're at, hey, click on some of the stuff and follow what it is. We got motivational stuff. We've got podcasts. We've got more things. Just subscribe and do the stuff and we'll keep you updated. But if you want to start going in, start jumping into what our programs offer and start your journey and being the hero in your own story.
How many of your rejections?
Yeah.
I don't know.
0. No, you didn't even know they happened.
Yeah, I have no idea.
They affected you not at all. That's how important my rejections were. It doesn't matter if it's starting a business, if it's asking someone on a date, if it's, learning a new skill, if it's doing a job. It doesn't matter. Not one of my rejections has affected you. That's how important they are. And I've had tons of them.
Right.
Well, they don't. That's okay. That's how important they are. So let's screw it up. Let's get rejected. You can't lose what you don't have. And people think I don't want to fail. Well, you didn't start, so you're failing now.
Yeah.
So let's screw it up a little bit. Let's be less perfectionists and let's make some mistakes. And every mistake is a lesson. You'll learn something from every single one. This gets into the belief systems. And this is where you are well aware of everything's happening to me. Everybody starts there, the victim mentality. We know, poor me, poor me. And then the big one now everyone talks about is happening for me, of course, right? You've had this conversation 100 times. Now it's not happening to you, it's happening for you, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what happens after that one? There's 2 more.
What? Through me?
Well, through you is the last one. The observer is when you start finding balance. No, this is the answer, not the solution. How do you find the observer point of view? We want to use just our one strong side. Could be mind side, body side, heart side, spirit side. We use our strongest side, but it's a balance. It's when you're able to train each warrior type within yourself to be able to handle whatever situations come up. Being able to have an outlet on each side, mind, heart, body, soul. Like you have to be able to figure out how do I have a proper outlet on each side and use my training to be able to handle these situations. And then you can become the observer. This is before you become the creator. First, you have to be able to accept, radical acceptance. What is? Well, that person said no. Okay. They said no. You didn't fail. You're not the worst. You're not terrible. You shouldn't quit. You don't need an emotional thing. It's not no one's ever going to love you. You're never going to get what you need. No, you're not worth shit. None of those things matter. It just happened. I can see that happened. They said, no. Next one. Let's go to the next thing. We don't have to have these emotional attachments that we seem to throw on to every situation.
Right.
The more rejections that you have, the more capable you are at handling it. And it's not happening to you. Growth is happening for you, but then sometimes things are happening. And I don't have to necessarily have a huge reaction. And then that's when all the things you've gone through then goes to the next level. And this is a high level of acceptance until you can get to happening through me. And that's when you create from your pain. That's when all of the damage that you've gone through is now turned into wisdom. And now I create programs and I write books and I do things, not because I'm arrogant or it's all about me, but because I've been through all of the hell that you have to go through. And it makes it so you don't have to do it for years when you can do it in months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The pain works through me now, and it makes it a benefit to you. So here we are now trying to limit risk, limit pain, control how things go, be the ones who dictate what can and can't happen, limit failure. We're trying to control everything. Go in. Just go in and with a mindset of, I'm going to screw it up and learn from each thing, and that's the road to mastery.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because my, when I was doing, it took me like a couple months to make all those videos for like my Kajabi example. And I was working a lot on it, and we were going to go to Sweden for 2 weeks. And my goal was, I don't want to do any work for the business while I'm there. I'll monitor some things once in a while, but like, I want my business to be like hands off at that point. That was like my big goal. So I'm working a lot to get this whole thing set up. So every day something's going out. People are enrolling inside of like the affiliate program and like systems and whatnot. I came back and made like $8,000. So it was pretty awesome. So it all worked. But I was doing all this work with these videos and the Kajabi thing. And I was like telling my girlfriend, like, I got this plan. Like, here's how it's going to work. Like, I know it's going to work. You know, I have some friends who are doing the similar thing. You know, it's like, it's going to work. And she's like, but what if it like doesn't? And she was just kind of curious. And I was like, well, I'll just do something else, you know, like is what it is, but I feel like it's going to work. And yeah, it's something that has become really apparent to me. It kind of plays off of what we've been talking about here about like your like attachment to like a no or rejection, that sort of stuff. You have to face rejection, especially if you want to grow a business. Like people are I mean, I've worked with people when we talk about their email list and they're like, but people are unsubscribing. It's like, good, because they're not going to buy anything from you anyway. You know, they're not going to be lifelong followers or really love your mission or reply to your emails. Like, let them go. They're just kind of checking it out. And if it's not for them, it's not for them. No attachment. And there's a really great saying called HILA, high intention, low attachment. And this is, I learned this from a business mentor of mine and now friend, Greg Faxon. And he learned it from Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. But high intention, low attachment is just like a mantra that I live by now. And it's even my screensaver on my phone. And it's really so important. Like if you're going dating or you're trying to, you know, get more clients, you have to invite people to take a step with you, to go on a date, to hop onto a deeper call, like whatever it is. And if you're like so attached to the outcome, it's going to show. And then you come across as needy. And as Steve Chandler would say in The Prosperous Coach, needy is creepy. And it's so true. And it's like, if I'm just like, I really like need this, then it's like, it's kind of turning me off. Like, I don't know what it is about you. Everything you said was right, you know, but it's just something about you not there. So it's important to have an intention of like, this is the outcome I want, and I'm going to work towards it, but I'm not really attached to how that plays out. I'm just going to keep doing what I can to achieve that outcome. And I think that that is a very important skill that I wish I learned earlier on.
That's awesome. Needy is creepy. That's funny. How many people are so excited for their first sale and they're the creepiest of creepers? I think we've all done it. And then they're like, well, how about this? I'll just discount it 96% for you. Okay. Like, right. Man, they just, like they just get in and mess it all up, which is fine. It's part of the learning thing. High intention, low attachment. That's pretty good. I like that your girlfriend did that. What if it doesn't? Do you want to help everybody kill a curse? Like, let's give people some weapons. You want to give people a weapon?
Sure.
One of my favorite ones to teach is how to beat doubt. It's very beatable. There's a strategy to it. Have you seen
You're
it?
going to love the Fifth Agreement, by the way, because that's what the Fifth Agreement is about.
Listen, let's see if we got the same answer. I don't know what his thing is yet. So this is how far I've gotten. And I've been doing this on stages everywhere. And so let's kill doubt together. Your girl says, what if it doesn't? Which is just a question. It's actually a good question, because what if it doesn't? What's the contingency? Nothing wrong with that. Prepared, not prepared. But how about the doubt where, like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if anybody will buy this. Why would anybody listen to me? It's taken me so long. I've lost money on this so far to build this. I've been shooting videos and bought the equipment and all this stuff, and I'm not making any money. I'm losing money while I'm building this dream or building it. Is this really the right path for me? Is this going to work? What if this, what if that? We start getting into, that's fear, but let's get into some doubt stuff. What are some doubt things that you've ever heard in your head, especially starting off?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. Which one? So here's there's a doubt of who would listen to me? And this is, well, especially if you're trying to teach things online, why would anyone listen to me when there are so many other people teaching the same exact stuff? And they have much bigger presence, and authority. They've been in it longer than me. So why would they listen to me? That's something I've experienced. I still experience once in a while, not nearly as much because I have tools and stuff to help me. But I help clients all the time. And that's one of the biggest things that I hear from people.
Why would anybody listen to me? I don't have all the credentials. Do I have to get every credential there is to start?
A degree.
Do I need a PhD? Do I have to? How many books do I have to write before I'm an authority on anything? We think all of these measurements that people have that are subjective are the way that we find ourselves to be confident. Let's challenge any of them, all right? I'm not good enough. This is a bad idea. I'm not good enough. Let's just keep it with that one. I'm not good enough. If I said, James, you're not good enough, man. Let's just say I'm your naysayer. You're like, I have a dream. I'm going to help people. I'm going to build businesses. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, that's not going to work. You're not good enough for that. What makes you qualified for that? The definition for doubt is that doubt offers nothing but takes from you everything. In which case, what is my offer to you if I say, you can't do that? That's not going to work. What am I offering you in alternative? If you were to take my point of view, what am I offering for you to do instead? That's not going to work.
To quit?
Is it? Did I even offer to quit? I just said that's not going to work.
Yeah, but I can go down the rabbit hole in my mind of maybe you're right. And then I start to doubt my own abilities.
Let's go. Take me down the rabbit hole with you. That's not going to work. Now, where do you start? Well,
to get out of it, or no. Going down?
Let's follow doubt. Where is he leading me to? That's not going to work, James. You're like, well, if that's not going to work, maybe you're right. And if you are right, I'm wasting my time. And if I'm wasting my time, that means this is stupid. And I don't want to be stupid because I'm trying to be smart. And this makes me not smart. And so that means maybe I shouldn't be doing this because that's a dumb move. And maybe you're right and I can't do it. And this is let's spiral. How does it go?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But then, you're going down. But the interesting thing about doubt is that doubt can put you into a deeper personal hell, but it can also bring you out of that personal hell. Because doubt is what got you in there, but it's also the same exact tool that takes you out.
We're trying to jump to the answer. Let's go down. Let's get into this shit where people who don't have the tool yet. Where does it go before I know?
Yeah, well, it goes down to maybe you're right. Maybe I am not worthy because I'm not even capable because I haven't achieved great things yet. You could even say. This was a big one for me is because especially when I started helping people with making money online, I hadn't built a big multi-6-figure, 7-figure business or anything. So I was always interested in that. And then I was in productivity coaching, and then I learned how to make digital products, and then they made passive income consistently for me. And I was like, this is sweet. And it was ultimate productivity. And then I worked with clients with productivity stuff. And I would always ask them what's a win since the last time we spoke, just to make sure they're making progress. And then some of them wanted to know my wins. So I told them, I made this program. It's been selling passively. And then they were like, that's amazing. Can you help me with that? And I was like, I guess. And this is where I experienced that doubt.
Just from that. So you started doing the action that gave you achievement, and the achievement solidified your value and worthiness, which made it so now I feel qualified to teach. Is that, I was trying to follow your story.
Right.
Okay, so you found your worthiness through action.
Yes.
Cool. Now, what if I don't even get that into action? Let's say I have an idea, I have a dream, and dreams are fragile.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work, James. That's a stupid idea. What is my offer to you to do? Now you're saying before you beat it, like, what is that? What am I offering you? Just my side alone.
By you saying
it's not going to work. You can't.
Not going to work.
That's a dumb idea.
What you're offering me, I guess, an opportunity to not pursue it.
I didn't give you an opportunity. I didn't even give you an alternative idea. I didn't give you an improvement. I didn't give you anything.
Technically, you're offering me nothing.
There's nothing. If you accept what I'm pushing on you, it's nothing. There is nothing there. There's no different direction. There's no improvement. There's no alternative idea. There's no idea that would work, that yours won't work. I just said you can't do it. That means there's nothing there. It's just nothing.
It's the story that I put in my head that linked my value to whatever you had said, even though you didn't say anything specific. Correct. I just went down the rabbit hole.
You created an entirely new thing, but if you catch it at the core, doubt offers nothing and takes from you everything. If you understand it, we have to go back to challenge everything. Well, what is your offer if you're saying I can't do it? Are you improving my system? Are you going to give me a better way? Are you going to help me do it so it's successful? What's your offer? Well, no, I'm not offering anything. I just think you can't do it. Well, then let me weigh out my options. On one hand, I have all of this potential, and I have a vision and a dream, and I have this idea that I can help people. And not only that can I help people, but I can also provide a safe, secure life for my family and be able to have provisions and a beautiful lifestyle and have, happiness and joy, and have others also be able to join me in happiness and joy and pull people up and break generational curses and make lives better. That's just one option. Or nothing. Well, now we have to pick, James. Which one do you choose? All of this potential that could go very well and change many people's lives for the better, or a guaranteed nothing? Which do you choose?
I mean, I would choose the first one.
Great. It seems pretty simple, right? So now I simply decline your offer. I see you've offered nothing, and I decline your offer. Thank you, though. I'm not mad at you for saying I can't do it. I just decline your offer. You're not offering anything. That's a stupid idea. What's the offer? Nothing. It's just a judgment. It's a stupid idea. No offer in any direction. Well, thank you for sharing your judgment, but I decline any offer that you have with that. I'm not going to go that way. It destroys potential, possibility, lives. It makes things go worse because I listened and took nothing. But how many people don't have the awareness that the offer for nothing is right there and they take it? They abandon their dream. They abandon their potential. They abandon everything that gives them hope and purpose, love, connection, joy, their values, their principles, their morals, their purpose in life, thrown in the garbage. And the offer was nothing. If you catch it at the beginning, it doesn't even affect you. You don't have to spiral because you go, you're not offering anything, are you? You just said that's not going to work, or I'm not good enough, or I'm unworthy, or nobody will listen to me. But you're not giving me anything to work with. You're just saying that won't work. Well, I decline your offer. Thank you for the offer, but I decline. And I'm going to go ahead and go with potential. So simple, right?
Yeah. But it's just interesting because like the natural tendency that most people would have is to, maybe you're right, go down that rabbit hole.
There's only two kinds of people. You're either trained or untrained. Yeah. And if you're untrained and reactive versus trained and responsive, you're going to immediately start perpetuating whatever your fears or doubts are to make it match your experiences so your reality becomes truth. It's all shenanigans. It's nonsense. It's all we're doing clever brain tricks because we've been hurt so much. We're trying to control the world. But if you just catch it before that and go, I'm trained to catch when there's an offer that offers nothing, well, it's a simple decline instead of me having to spiral into some sort of coping mechanism.
Right. Yeah. And that's like when I was first reading the 4 Agreements and really starting to transform the way that I was thinking, it was just the repetition of practicing awareness and just being aware. Because if I hear that voice in my head that's like, yeah, you probably can do it, yeah, maybe he's right, and it's just like, that's what leads to the spiral. But I got really good at just catching it early on. And that's what allowed me to just be aware of like what I'm thinking about and just looking inward and how I felt. If I felt like I was taking things personally, I just got really good at being responsive of getting curious as to why.
Challenge everything.
What's causing, and challenging those beliefs. And that's really like what the book is about and just what transformation is about in general.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. It's pretty cool stuff. When we start getting into like, why do we do that stuff? I think it's good. It's great, man. I'm glad that you found these tools too. We just do different fighting styles, but it doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. Awareness is the first tool that we teach in the Warrior's Way.
Right.
You can't make a decision that you don't know exists.
Right.
How do you make a choice on something that I didn't even know there was a choice for?
Yeah.
We have to challenge default program and the belief systems put into us by people who cursed us. We have to. How do you ever become authentic if you're living by somebody else's beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. We should answer that shit. Here's another thing for doubt. How about rhetoricals or unanswered questions? How's that for doubt? You know what I mean? What's the point of all this? Geez, what's the point? What's the point? God, this is not working. What's the point of even doing this? It's a great question. What is the point? What are you doing this for?
Yeah. Well, I've had times when I've thought about quitting my entrepreneurial journey multiple times. And I got to a point where I was just like, because things just weren't working. And I'm like, literally, same thing. And thought, why do I do this? What's the point? Literally the same exact thing. And I called up a friend and was like literally thinking about enrolling into the military and enlisting. I was like, if I could just do something, like I was really into skydiving at the time, certified, I have like 160 jumps under my belt. Haven't kind of retired from it because it's just, I don't have the same passion that I did before. Also had some crazy accidents, so that'll do it. But I thought like, I'll go into the Air Force and become a paratrooper, cause that sounds exciting. They do a lot of cool stuff. They're super fit. And I was like, sure, I could do that. I could also go, and I thought about becoming a firefighter as well. I had friends in that and they enjoyed their jobs and stuff. And I remember getting off the call with my friend and then just really thinking about looking inward and thinking, what do I really want? Because I just fall back on that question of, which I was taught in my coaching institute and everything to think about, is what's the life that I really want to live? If I could just make this finite like time that I have on this earth be something, what would it be? Ideally, if everything could work out. And I would always go back to, I'm working with people, I'm doing the coaching and that sort of stuff. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not possible. It just, you have to find your way, and that's, the work is going to teach you how to do it, like we've been talking about. And I just had this like little discernment that I'm going to stay on the track. I'm not going to go pursue something else because no matter what I do, it's going to be hard. There's going to be problems. So I might as well just kind of suffer the things that I actually want to achieve or towards that. And then shortly after, I ended up having like my first $10,000 day or something like that. And I was just like, what? What if I quit? And I was 3 feet from gold. Same thing.
Happens every day. People quit right like 2 steps from the top of the mountain. They do it every day. Every day. I have one of my clients is a 9-figure business. He's very, very successful. Works with all the big stars. And he says it's amazing how many people are 1 step away and quit. He's like, all they remember is the grind. They were just 1 step away from getting that thing that they want. And they said, this is stupid. And they had unanswered questions. What's the point of doing this? I'm just going to quit. They never answer the question. What are you doing this for? What's the point? Does it even matter? Does anybody even care? It's a good question. Do you think anybody cares? Do you care? It's a good question. A lot of times we make rhetoricals and we don't answer them. People, whenever I'm working with people, you're really good at asking questions, but you're shit at answering them. Answer your own questions. I bet you figure some cool stuff out. Like, right. And this is a thing that it's right there. But like, did you ask a question? What am I even doing this for? It seems like nobody cares. I'm like, what are you doing it for? And do you need people to care for you to do it?
Right.
Good questions. Did you answer them? It's right there.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's like, oh, this sucks. Why am I even doing this? And then they storm off.
Yeah.
Go to the bar.
Answer the question instead of running away from it. It's a good question. Right. You're very good at asking questions.
Yeah.
Answer.
Right.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Like, a lot of us are really good. What do you want, though? That's actually, it's section 13. It's really difficult for us, especially most men. women too. I think it's people just in general. It's a question that stumps people. What do you want? And when I do that training, it's difficult for people to do that because when were we ever taught that muscle? Like when you're a little kid, you can be anything. You can be a princess or a dinosaur hunter. Like you can be whatever you want. You know, you can do anything, right? And then as you get older, it starts getting far more limited based on locational hiring. Now I'm working at, dishwasher or ice cream shop or whatever your location is as a teenager. You know what I mean? Well, what do you want? Well, who's been telling you what to do? Your parents tell you what to do your whole life, and then teachers, and then coaches, and then bosses, and then spouses. And then when you have other people to take care of, you're always doing whatever they need. So you're always helping other people get what they want. When were you supposed to develop the skill to truly understand your wants and needs or dreams when you've sacrificed all of that to do what everyone tells you you're supposed to do?
Right.
It's an untrained muscle. I don't know what I want. What do you think I should do? Do you see the irony in that? What do you think I should do? Well, it's your dream. I turned that off a long time ago because my mom said I need to do this, or my dad said I need to do that. My teacher told me I could only do this, or my coach said that I'm not good at that, so I shouldn't do that.
Right.
My boss, he's
looking outward
he wanted
instead of inward.
Sure.
There's one of my favorite quotes that I heard early on is by Howard Thurman. He was a mentor to Martin Luther King. And he said, don't do what you think the world needs. Do what makes you come alive, because what the world needs are more people who've come alive. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the great starting point of just finding and exploring and experimenting with those things that do make you come alive.
There's a lot
and then
of
starting to lean into
that,
them.
Like the Matrix references or things like that. Like, can you get out of the Matrix? You're caught in the rat race, those mindsets that we're stuck in. And that's conditioning. It's, you go to school to get a job, not to, to fly or to be able to be free or to be alive. That's not the training. There's a few things on this one. This is why we were talking about eagles and chickens before and how unrelatable it is for eagles and chickens. So this is a story that I heard a while ago. This wasn't even my story. It's just I use it often because it's relatable to people who are starting a business or have a dream. And so the story goes, there's a man who owns a farm. He's walking down the road and finds an egg. He takes the egg back home and puts it in his chicken coop, and out of that egg hatches an eagle. Now the eagle is raised by the chickens. It only does as chickens does because it's only ever known what chickens do. And so it does the chicken stuff. It eats off the ground. It only flutters a few feet and then goes down to the ground and lives its whole life doing what chickens do. Now, it knows that it's a little odd, so it tries to stay in, conformity. It tries to do what others. Never mind that I can see further, and never mind that my wingspan is 5 times bigger. I'm just a weird chicken, but I'm still a chicken. And then one day, the eagle sees an eagle flying overhead. He asked another chicken, what is that? Chicken says, that's an eagle, man. King of the skies. Nothing is better than an eagle, but you don't have to worry about that because you're just a chicken. There's a lot of people who are eagles who live their lives like chickens. Now, there's more chickens than there are eagles, and so how many visionaries or people with big dreams or people have the courage to do anything about it? Most people are happy living in their safe little chicken coop, 9-to-5 job, do my thing. I just go to the bar and hang out with my buddies, and I don't step out. I don't do anything unique or new. I'm very happy with the safety security of my routine, and I don't want to do anything more or less. I'm good. I'm comfortable, and I'm happy. Most people fall in this category. It's an average. But for those of you who I can see further, and I feel weird for it, or I have a bigger wingspan and I feel odd for it, it's because you're meant to fly. And when you start talking and hanging out with other birds that fly, be it eagles or name another bird that you could be, you go, you're meant for the sky. And if you ever have the courage to come out and fly with us, we go fly over mountains and we go and catch fish in the lake, and we eat on treetops and tell stories of dreams to change the world. And then you come back to your chicken coop and you tell people about your weekend. I just got to fly over a mountain and ate fish. And the chickens are like, that's not a real thing, dude. You're bullshit. That's not even possible. That's so stupid. You're crazy, man. And they'll try and make it so that their perspective or their reality becomes yours if you allow it. They'll offer you nothing and take from you everything. Most people are chickens. Nothing wrong with it. They're delicious. But if you're an eagle, you're going to have some courage to step out of being what everyone tells you you're allowed to do. And hang out with other birds that fly. You become less and less relatable because you're not going to want to go to the bar. You're not going to want to get fucked up this weekend. You're not going to want to go back to the regular flutter when you now know like there's a new cloud that I can reach. And you're going to be with people who challenge you to go higher. And they're not insulted, and they're not intimidated, and they're not frustrated by your success. They want you to go higher. In fact, you guys build each other up. When you hang out with other people that fly, they don't get like, oh, that must be nice for you, good for you. They don't pull you down, they push you up. So then you start paying attention. Am I hanging out with other birds that fly, or am I trying to convince my chicken friends to fly with me?
Right.
It can kill your dream pretty quickly if you keep acting like a chicken when you're meant to be in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, that's very relatable because that's how I felt when I was in construction work. Is I just followed my dad's footsteps and I was making good money, great benefits. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I got to a point where I realized that I'm meant for more. I'm an eagle among chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all just like, why can't you just be happy with this? Like, we just show up, we do the work. Meanwhile, my typical week was wake up at 3 a.m., drive an hour commute to San Francisco, work physical labor all day, just hard, and then get home through traffic and everything at about 4 p.m. and then try and fit in all my fitness and the things that my band practice and the things that I enjoyed, do that 6 days a week. And I was like, I don't want to do this for 40 years, which is what everyone's saying. And I'm like, this is not my thing. And I'm meant for more, to do other things. And that's when I got to the point where it was a 5-year apprenticeship and I left 4 years in and people thought I was insane. They're like, you are so close to being vested. And I'm like, but then what? You're vested. Okay, so what's that mean? Well, you can always come back and like have this secure job and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't care though. I've done the thing. Like, I know what this is like. And I even asked people, does it ever get better? And they're like, no, this is it. Like, this is the thing, Okay, cool. I've tasted the fruit. I know what it's like. It's not my thing. I'm not into it. So then I decided to leave, and it was the best decision I ever made. And I would have done it again. I would have left earlier, actually, if I could restart, because I had my ducks in a row sooner than I waited because I was scared, but I would have started even sooner.
Well, maybe you had to do that to keep that fire under you. Maybe you had to sit in it longer. Like, hindsight's so different, but we had to sit in the discomfort to know. But you're going off of what? The opinions of people who care about you.
Yeah.
That's tough. It's a tough one to break, because it's a mom or a dad or a best friend or a coworker or somebody who you care about. And they care about you. And their best answer is like, no, this is the best way I know.
Yeah, that was my dad.
Yeah, it's the best way I know. And so I'm going to do, all I can offer is the best that I know. And you're like, but I think there's more out there. And he's like, never seen any of that, but I do know this is safe and secure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, Dad, I'm going to fly. You're like, that's not possible. But any of the other chickens I've seen who try to fly just fall, man. But if you need to fall, go for it. You're like, I'm not built like them, Dad. Yes, you are. You're a chicken until you start flying. My dad also construction. He's a master electrician.
Mm-hmm.
I should be in construction. It's the only thing he knows. And I said, it's not my path. I did plumbing for a couple of years. Same thing.
Yeah.
Man, did I hate that. I hated it. I'd be in the muckiest of mucks. It's the worst. I hated it. Not because it's the hard work, but I hated the work. There was no fulfillment. And I'm in sewers and gross things all the time. And I found no joy and no satisfaction. It wasn't my calling. And doing what you do and what I do to people like that, you're a bullshit artist. You're selling magic tonics and potions to people. You're selling bullshit like dreams, potential. These are all make-believe. No, you should build something tangible. Like, but I am, though. There's a difference, too, information and transformation. Mm-hmm. And here you are changing people's lives, and yet, well, I can't sit on it. I can't sit in it. I can't be there in it. Well, it's because it's not yours. It's not a building. No, this is someone's dream. It changes stars. But we're not in the business of changing stars. We're on the ground. I think it takes a lot of courage to do what you did. Everyone who loves you says you can't do that. It's unsafe. What if you fall? You're like, you know what I think about what you're saying about unsafe and falling? I'm going to jump out of a plane 160 times and show you.
Pretty much.
You're meant for the sky, brother.
Yeah. Well, dude, we're about at time, and I really appreciate all the time. I feel like you and I could talk for 3 hours easy.
On my podcast, I usually do like 3 hours with people.
Okay. Sure. Well, yeah, that'd be rad. But we're going to start to wrap it up. Where can people connect with you, dive into your world deeper?
If you want to know what I do, right now I work primarily with men. The suicide rate globally for men is 1 guy per minute. That's a lot of guys. I work a lot with veterans right now, and jumped up. It's doubled to 44 a day. So I'm working with any men who are looking for their pack. I work hard on transformation. We have information stuff, but what we do is we take guys into the brotherhood and we do real work. Check us out at thewarriorswaymindset.com. You can check us out on our TikTok is huge, just Warriors Way Mindset. We've got almost 350,000 people following us there, millions of views. The Battlefield of the Mind, it's not Joyce Myers. It's going to be the podcast that I have. This is all talking about this stuff. And how do you start winning the fights in here, whether it be doubt or anxiety and fear? We fight all of it together. But I work with men. And if any men out there, the number one killer that we have, and we've had 10 months without any issues now since we started doing our extra groups, is isolation and getting picked off, thinking you have to do everything alone. And most guys don't go, hey, can I get some help here, until they're in crisis. It has to be rock bottom before they go, somebody fucking bail me out, I'm drowning. You don't have to do that. You can actually train with other warriors to be able to handle all these situations, and you can find us at The Warrior's Way. If you want to learn more, check us out on the website or click any of the links that we'll send in this video or this podcast to be able to click on our stuff and just check it out. And I still do the calls up front to vet whether you're the kind of warrior that's going to work for The Warrior's Way. There is a creed that we follow, which is trust, no blame, no shame, no judgment, authenticity, willingness, skin in the game, protect our pack, and challenge everything. If there's anything that you just disagree with, that kind of culture, don't join. But if you're looking for a group of wolves that you can hunt with to make it so you're the best alpha you can be for your family, come join us. This is the way.
Sick. Cool. We'll make sure we have all the necessary links down in the show notes, in the description. Make sure you check him out. Dive into Rick's world. It's been great getting to know you and just chatting for the time that we have today. For the listener, I know we covered a lot, but if there's something that's sticking in your mind, just an idea, maybe a full realization of, wow, I've been really approaching things different than I feel I want to, challenge yourself. Like you said, challenge everything, question yourself, write down those feelings and those rhetorical questions. That was really fun for me to hear about, of just like, why isn't this working? And then running away. It's like, well, okay, pull out a pen and paper, pull out a Google Doc and just ask away and answer. I think it's a great exercise for anybody at any stage in growing their business, because no matter what, you're going to encounter those problems. So action's your only superpower. Like we said, the work's going to teach you how to do it. Implementation, that's how you make it happen. And just hang on, buckle your seatbelt and go along for the ride. And we will see you in the next one.
Click on the button and you can become the hero in your own story. It's time to start making the choices to change. And the evolution that you're going to do begins with choosing the next step. This is the way. And together, we're always stronger.